CATV is proudly presented by Toyota.
Damien Fleming, just in the wake of Mitchell Johnson's efforts yesterday. Do you think the turnaround in his bowling, is it confidence, is it rhythm, is it batting well the day before, all of the above? What do you think?
Well, he's Clint Eastwood, isn't it? The good, the bad and the ugly with Mitchell Johnson. And early on, one thing I did like about it, even though the radar wasn't there, he was trying to bowl full and swing the ball. And if you've got the new ball, you know, that's your job basically there. And we saw that with James Anderson and Ryan Harris, they weren't swinging it a lot. And then later in the day, I think that's where Mitch is, as we saw in one-day cricket, when he actually brings his length back a bit and hits the deck hard, you know, he opens up a lot of opportunities because he's still probably the quickest bowler in Australia. He gets good bounce off a length, and just that hostility that probably the other boys in the attack lack at the moment. And you can afford to have a Mitch Johnson who leaks runs a bit wayward because Ryan Harris, Siddle and Lyon are all very economical bowlers.
And how much of that is technical? Can you change little bits and things in your technique to make that difference, or is it purely a confidence thing and just how it comes out on the day?
I'd imagine he's still always striving to get as high as possible, but at 32 years of age, he's been bowling with that action for 20 years. How much can he really change? But it can be a matter of just millimetres as well. You know, when he gets too low, the radar's out, he doesn't get as much bounce, he's not going to swing the ball because it's hard to get a stable seam there. So I no doubt him and Craig McDermott, they'd have some cue words to make sure that he's as high as possible at release. Because as we saw in that one-day series in India and England, you know, when he gets it right, he's still bowling 155. He can still swing the ball, but it's that bounce and that X factor that is such a bonus when he's going well, because batsmen talk about he actually takes the ball behind his body, which bowling purists will say, no, you're better off, you know, keeping in front of your body and getting a stable seam there. But as a batsman, once you lose the ball, it's hard to pick up. So I reckon that's a bit of a factor for Mitchell Johnson as well.
And how important Test cricket? You know, it's a game of inches and a few k's an hour, I think. But to have a guy who can put it in at over 145, it makes a significant difference, doesn't it, in the course of a 5-day game? Yeah,
definitely, because the pitches I think are a lot flatter these days. Tail enders bat better. You know, the years ago you'd have Ambrose and Walsh and Akram, you know, just trying to, and Glenn McGrath, you know, famously in that 95 West Indies series where, you know, we decided as a group we're going to bounce their tail.
Yep.
So no one likes, particularly tail enders, fast bowlers bouncing you and all that sort of stuff. But I reckon that's what Johnson can do, can't he? And he's not only shaking up tail enders. We saw with Carberry and guys like that. They're actually really shook up from his length and from his pace. So, yeah, if the other guys are bowling really tight and economical, Johnson's that X factor that's worked again, and we saw a classic Johnson day. I don't think he's not going to be like Ryan Harris and Siddle bowling in the avenue of apprehension consistently, but that unpredictableness is still a factor because of the pace, the swing and the bounce.
And just finally, how important is it for the rest of the attack to have a guy who's able to put the wind up a few of the top order batsmen and come in at that speed? It gives you a little bit of a lift to everyone else when they come on for a spell.
Yeah, I think it is. I like a little bit of difference from both ends. So if you've got Siddle and Harris are probably going to bring the batsman forward more often than not, trying to get them to drive to get nicks behind with the odd bouncer. With Mitch, unless it's really swinging for him, I'd actually rather him bowling a lot shorter so they're playing on the back foot. So that's a good bowling partnership, isn't it? From one end you get him brought forward, the other one you've got him put back. So the batsmen aren't getting comfortable against one type of bowling.
Damien Fleming, thanks for talking to Cricket Australia TV.
Thanks, Rambo.